They, they haven't bothered me yet, I guess.
You usually don't know until you've had experience. So, one of the things that we do in our laboratory is we go out and do crime scene investigations for local law enforcement agencies throughout the state. And we do it as a voluntary program, but I say voluntary only in that if we have enough volunteers, it's voluntary. If we don't have enough volunteers, it's not voluntary anymore. Everybody would have to chip in and do it. We like all of our new people to take that on at least for a while. Crime scene investigations can be a very stressful situation for those working the scenes. How do you feel about going out at all hours of the day or night to crime scenes and collecting evidence where there will be violent scenes involving bodies and blood, things like that?
Well, I haven't really done that yet, so I wouldn't be able to say how I feel about it. I could always give it a try just to see what I thought of it.
Okay. The main point there is it's different than what you see on TV, so you really have to kind of think about that before you go into a forensic science career. This job, like a lot of other laboratory jobs, can be kind of routine, maybe tedious, and gets to be a little boring after a while. How do you handle situations like that?
Well, I just work through them and get them done as the best I can. Even if it is boring, it still needs to be done.
And then you can always volunteer to do other things too, kind of move around and do some different things as well. So there are other opportunities. Crime scene is kind of one of those things to get out of the laboratory and do some other kinds of work. What, if any, exposure have you had to law enforcement agencies? And I'm not talking about tickets or anything like that. I mean, do you have relatives that are law enforcement officers or friends, parents, or anything like that?
I don't have any relatives or friends who are in the law enforcement agency.
How about relatives or friends who are practicing law?
Not that either.
Okay. Science?
Not really.
Okay, all right. Now this one's a little bit different here. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to think about this, and then I want you to give me a reply. I would like you to give me a 2 to 3 minute presentation on a topic that I'm going to give you here in just a second. And the intent here is to kind of put you on the spot and see if you're a quick thinker on your feet or not. And anyhow, the topic that I want you to talk about is this. If you could travel to any place on the planet, where would you go and why? You have 2 to 3 minutes, so think about it for a little bit. So you can if you've got pen and paper there, you can jot a few things down just to kind of control your thoughts. Just take your time.
If you wanted to.
Okay. Alright, I think I got this.
Okay, let's go.
If I could go somewhere, I would like to go to Hawaii because it is warm there. I don't like to be cold at all. I'd rather stay warm. I like to be out in the sun, and it's a different culture. People dress differently and act differently. Some people speak different languages there, and there would be a ton of things to see from the different landscape from Iowa. You could see oceans all around you, and the volcanoes, and just the different types of trees and animals and birds and everything out there, and the sandy beaches.
So, have you been to Hawaii before?
No, I have not. I would like to go.
So what's the first thing you would do if you went to Hawaii?
Mm. Probably I would go on a tour and just see all the different sites.
Okay. Very good. Very good. And now I have a list of what we would discuss with our applicants. It's just a real simple list of essential job functions that we go through, and then the applicant then says whether or not they can meet that job function or not. So I'll just go through these quick just so you know kind of what we do. But drive a car, can you drive a car? Do you have a valid driver's license? And if you don't have one, could you get an Iowa license?
Yes.
Operate instrumentation like balances, GC mass specs, FTIR, GC, microscopes, camera. Not so much that have you had the experience of doing it, but could you do it? Is there any reason why you couldn't do that stuff? And so you say no, you could do that. Just the usual laboratory work skills like pipetting and taking sample aliquots. Typically there'd be no reason why you couldn't do that. Do you have color blindness, and have you ever gone through a color blindness determination? And then typically we would do that. We would do a color blindness test. How are your typing and keyboarding skills? If you had to be gone overnight for court or for crime scene, could you do that? Would you be able to respond within an hour from where you currently live? Can you lift 50 pounds? Sometimes we get evidence that it's kind of heavy. So those kinds of things we would ask. And then typically we would have questions that are sort of specific to the discipline. And these are some examples. They're not really all that tricky or difficult, but these are just some examples of something that we would ask involving a chemistry-related discipline. So, what is the chemical symbol for sodium? How would you go about determining the molecular weight of a compound such as sodium chloride? What does the term saturated solution mean in chemistry? What does anhydrous mean when used in conjunction with a chemical or chemical compound? How would you prepare a 1 liter of a 1 molar solution of sodium hydroxide? A useful phrase for chemists is like dissolves like. What does that mean? And give an example. The equation M1V1 equals M2V2 is useful in chemistry laboratories in preparing mixtures. Tell me anything you can about that equation. Which of the following is an alcohol? And then we give them 4 structures, and they tell us which one's an alcohol. And then explain the gas chromatograph and mass spectrometer. So just a common instrument that we use. So those are just examples of questions that we would have. They're not intended to really be tricky, but in an interview situation, it can be difficult just because of the stress that people are under. And that would be pretty much it. At that point, we would give the applicant time to ask questions, and if they had any questions about the job or the working environment, those kinds of things. So, do you got any questions for me?
Yeah. What is your favorite part of what you do?
I think it's when you are able to solve a crime and provide closure to the victim's family or the victim who's still living. That's the kind of the neat thing.
I think that's it.
Okay. All right, that's all I got.
Thank you very, very much. Hold on, let me swap places.